Namaskar and welcome to this exciting show, Sattology Debunking Mythology. Today we are going to talk about France and also why Dharma is spreading all over the world gradually. Because there are other people, even though Dharmic people may not do much about Dharma, but it is spreading because of others' efforts. So, still, but we are happy that many of you have joined and you're listening to this live talk. And our endeavor is to bring out facts. We are purely academic in nature so that you guys can use it in your own life and studies or whatever you do. So, without delay, let us welcome a very good friend of mine and a professor from IIT Kanpur, Shri Vashi Sharma. He's known the Vashi Month Sharma. And so, welcome, Vashi, again.
Thank you so much, Adi bhai, and thank you. My namaste to all American Hindus and all people watching. Thank you so much.
So, the France has been like is angry today. Just put it mildly. And
Okay.
uh, and France is angry because what has happened is some of the very dear, actually very peaceful teacher getting massacred for no reason. And as a country, it's one of the democratic countries, a great friend of US, and a lot of French nationals in the US who are some of the best citizens of this country. And even they are angry. And I've never seen a French American getting angry at anything. He may getting angry at the wine not being a taste, but or something else, but not angry on these issues. So, what do you think has happened in France?
Actually, first of all, Adiji, let me tell you, this is not the first incident of this barbarism that we Indians have been witnessing it for more than 1300 years now.
Yeah.
So, no, uh, be it some prophet, be it some god, or be it some book-related issue. No, these people cannot really discuss in humane manner. What they do is, okay, first they instigate people. First they tell, okay, we are some superior class, you are some kafir. When somebody debunks it with fact, then they start shouting ki nahi aapne you have committed some kind of a blasphemy or something, and then they go on doing what they have done right now. So slitting throat is just like their way of life, simply. So for long, USA and the West has, they have been ignoring these forces. They have been ignoring these ideologies. In fact, in 1970s and 80s in Afghan Jihad, US, Hollywood produced movies, uh, glorifying Allah and the fighters of Allah and this and that. So now West is coming. They have started smelling the coffee, and in France, actually, yeah, I empathize with the people. See, for long, this you know somehow they are trapped in some white guilt, as some people say. So for some reason, they think that, okay, they have some special. They need to do something special to some class. So here the community is Muslim. So they feel that they have to do something extra to woo. I don't know why they don't feel this to for Hindus. They don't feel like this for Jews and for any other community. But for Muslims, I don't know why. But the liberals across the globe, they have some special affinity towards this community, and somehow I feel that it is more no, it is related to the fear of getting beheaded yourself rather than anything else. So it is that fear in the background that that has made the liberals behave in a particular fashion vis-a-vis Islam. So yeah,
It's called Stockholm syndrome.
exactly, exactly.
The Stockholm syndrome and the victimhood, and I think the reason why the West and I'm just surprised at France because France has been the most accommodating country of any philosophy. The world's worst philosophies have come from France. Left wing, right wing, Islamophobia is also French philosophy, and so the worst that's what I was discussing. With someone, the French have produced the scum of the philosophies of the planet, and so there you can follow anything you want as long as you are following the law. But for French to become angry and the French president to put the Charlie Hebdo all over the walls of every single government institution, That speaks a lot. So, what has broken down, which has resisted to such a big reaction?
See, Aditi, you see, uh, such incidents really send a strong message. So yeah, from the from your comfort zones of your homes and offices, you can always talk. You can always deliver lectures on secularism and liberalism and this and that and equal rights. But then comes the fundamental question: when you face the mob, when you face the mobs chanting Allahu Akbar, or a mob carrying knives and swords in hands, and then asking for some kind of gazwa on kafirs, as they say. So now that we have to deal with the fundamental question, that what makes a particular community so angry at the other people of other faiths? What makes them so angry? And then the answer lies in the scripture. If you read their scripture, you will find not less than 100 verses. They ask for complete destruction, rape, plunder, loot, conversion, or slaughter of non-Muslims. So I can, for example, there is a verse called Ayatul Saf. The verse itself means the verse of sword, talwar ki ayat. So it clearly says that you have to massacre. No, wherever you find a non-Muslim, you have to just massacre or convert him to Islam or her to Islam. So no, this ideal. So every fanaticism, it doesn't start with a stone or a mob or acid or something. It starts with an ideology, and this ideology is something that makes a mob pick up arms, slaughter people like anything. So now what has happened is all over the world. So the world is polarizing very fast now. Liberals or the fence eaters have, I'm telling you, they have got no role to play in near future, because now world has to decide whether they want to side with this barbaric ideology, or they have to side with those who want to protect their daughters, who want to protect themselves from them. And that is why you are seeing, okay, anybody, there are many people who love Trump, there are many who hate Trump, maybe more than those who love him, but still you will find there is a massive followership, for those leaders who talk very clearly about the Islamic fanaticism. Trump is one example. You see the rise of right wing, in non-Muslim countries, exactly for this reason. Now people are not willing to accept this gundaism anymore. Okay, so that is why they have started realizing now, with 10% or 5% population, your heads are being cut. What happens if their population grows to 20% or 30%? Okay, so, and especially India. Yeah, you asked about France, but I'm bringing you back again and again to India, because Indians have seen by far the most, the worst kind of genocide in history. Okay, so we have lost crores of people. They have been massacred, they have been converted, women being raped, women being sold to, no, they're shipped to Baghdad and all. So yeah, now world has to decide, and now I'm happy that now France has, doing this thing, and I know this is my conviction that now India has to follow the footstep very soon. Otherwise, there is a question of survival, and whole West has to, step in and follow the thing.
So, in terms of active preaching, Hinduism is the fastest growing religion on the planet, where the non converts are willingly adopting a faith, and that is Hinduism. In America, also is one of the second largest, fastest growing religion now in faith, because the yoga is extremely popular with 45 million Americans. Now, coming back to France, and then its relationship with India, you rightly said that the fanaticism of one group through force fanaticism, is giving rise to a similar equal and opposite reaction in very peaceful countries also.
I would say, Aditi ji, I would say it's not really equal, in a sense that, just count how many terror organizations the Islamic groups have. Okay, yeah, equal and opposite. It's not equal reaction, but yeah, now people have started. mm Even till now, I won't say that it is equal reaction, because equal reaction would have been like this: if there are 1,000 terrorist group operating on the globe, okay, to massacre Kafir, there would be 1,000 non-Muslim organizations doing exactly same to the to the community. Okay, but it is not happening. So it's not equal and opposite. Yeah, but as you rightly said before this conversation started, that see, Muslims all over the world and Islamists in particular, they are very critical of Hindutva. And look at that beggar Imran Khan. Okay, that that victim of something in childhood that still haunts him, and that is why he always keeps crying about something. So now he is very 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 he's worried about Hindutva rise, RSS, etc. But look who is talking. That guy who is not able to build a single temple in Pakistan, he's talking about RSS and Hindutva. Okay, so the thing is, it is not actually equal reaction, but now people have started reacting, and that is a good thing. But my thing is, it's this madness starts at the ideological level, so it has to be countered at the ideological plane first. Okay, and then of course, on physical fronts also we have to counter them. See, their ultimate force is those butchers on ground who are ready to who are ready to stab you randomly. Okay, who are ready to barge in, and they're who are ready to just massacre. So if governments do not take action against these mobs, so there should be some massive disarmament program in India. Because no, in India, what happens is, let me tell you, Aditya ji, in places like West UP, because I have spent my childhood there, so I know it. Okay, what happens is all the organized crimes, be it chain snatching, be it car, theft, be it illegal weapons, all these industries are controlled, funded, and managed by the Islamic group. Okay, and what happens is, you know, एक हिंदू के घर में you won't find an arm in a Hindu's family, but there you'd see desi katta, this and that. Each house, each worship place is, it is full with these arms. So there is a need of some really massive disarmament program where just you have to search, every door, single door, and you have to find out किसी के भी घर में वो 4 इंची से बड़ा चाकू मिला, you we won't tolerate it. Okay, and secondly, if you cannot do it as a state, then you have to increase the presence of your troops, of your forces. Consider it as these areas as the mini Pakistans, and you have to protect the Hindu families accordingly. So now either you deploy the forces there to protect, or you have to then support the groups who can really defend themselves against this Islamic jihad. So that is so these are the two things that state needs to do right now.
Absolutely right. In India, there are many laws, but the enforcement of those laws never happen, or they are selectively applied. In France also, the laws are selectively applied. And I think the you touch upon the first thing, that these people, why their people are so sympathetic to them. There is a saying in America which Prabhupada had used one time. It's called the duck which quacks the loudest gets the cracker. And the duck on the other side has also started quacking now, but it's not as loud. Okay, the
Yes,
first time the duck has quacked so loud in France so far. So in the during the French imperialism, colonialism, so they did no stone unturned to, especially when they came to India, they condemned Hindus in a big way. All the Hindu fanaticism, all these ideas are all French ideas or Portuguese ideas, including the caste word. Now, coming back to India, in France, the duck has started quacking now. The duck is quacking now. And so far, he's the same guy who used to embrace them before. Now, in India, the laws are many, but the implementation is very, very selective.
yes,
And the most of the corruption in India happens due to political will. And
yes,
and the system itself is wrong because the police is under the state government, whereas the police should be under the judiciary, not the state government. And when you are under the state government, then definitely the selective, whoever is in power, they have the will. What do you think about that? Is there laws? Do you think that is a problem or no?
actually, Aditi, yes, laws are there, but the implementation is the problem. And I'll tell you, in brief, why is that? Why does that happen? See, ultimately laws, or the rather the implementation of laws, it happens like this. If you So any group having the most nuisance value on the street, it will call the shots. Okay, so the law will be applied, law will be implemented in their favor. I'll give you an example. In 1947 or 1950 or 60, no, most of the Indians had a consensus that okay, now we should behave like humans. Now for long we have been following many wrong things. Now let us come to the conclusion that now monogamy has to be the way of life. Okay, so okay, Hindus accepted it, Christians accepted it, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, everybody accepted that monogamy has to be the way of life now. But there was a group called Islamic group that denied. They said no, four wives are our fundamental right. Okay, now everybody who was teaching the law to us suddenly kept, they just kept mum. Okay, they never asked them why in India you have already taken Pakistan, you have already taken Afghanistan, you have already taken Bangladesh. Now, why is it that in India, in secular India, you need some four wise laws? But nobody had guts. Why? Because what happened to Kamlesh Tiwari could have been done to them in 1950s itself. And because these people had shown the trailer to Hindus, what we can do and how we can do in 1947, I think they kept the state hostage. They kept all Hindus hostage like this, and you will see now Sanjeev Bhai and Swati ji have recently started a Twitter handle called Gems of Bollywood. I would request you to I'll recommend it for your viewers also. You will see in every movie, on almost in every single movie, there was a plot. There would be a very cunning Brahman who would hate Dalits, who would not enter Dalits, who would not let Dalit enters the temple. Okay, then there would be a Thakur, Jalim Thakur, very tyrant who would be bashing people like anything. And then there would be a cunning Bania, okay, who would be, exploiting the people financially. And there would be a Dalit, oppressed Dalit, and there would be a Rahim Chacha. Okay, that Rahim Chacha is solution to every problem. Okay, he will keep a Hindu daughter as his daughter inside his house. There will be an idol, there will be a temple inside his house. Okay, he has so there is a Hindu daughter who is with Rahim Chacha, and then Rahim Chacha is always saving Dalits. There is no caste system in Rahim Chacha's house. Rahim Chacha is always fighting the tyrant, and ultimately Rahim Chacha sacrifices his life for some Hindu's life. Okay, now that is the plot. Now, why this happened and who did this? Let me tell you. There are three prominent families, in that started Bollywood in this format. There was a Kapoor family. Those Kapoors migrated from Peshawar to Mumbai. Okay, Pakistan. Then uh, there was a Johar family, that Karan Johar and the Yash Johar. He came from Lahore to Mumbai. There was third family, Yash Chopra family, the Chopra family, P.R. Chopra and Yash Chopra. And if you see the movies directed, produced by these three groups, they used to produce 80% of the movies at the time. In every single movie, there used to be these characters. And the script writers used to be Javed Akhtar and Salim, and there would be whole bunch of these jihadis coming together to shame Hindus and to establish Islam as something, जिन्होंने यहाँ पे who were actual saviors, who never had some caste system, who never killed any kafir, who were sent by Allah to liberate Dalits out of these Brahminical clutches and so on and so forth. So this was the plot. Even during the 1980s and 90s, when India was worst hit by terrorists, by Islamic terrorists, Dawood and all, what these people who used to show, some Hindu kind of Hindu gangster. Have you ever heard about any Hindu gangster in Mumbai or something? There used to be some 6 or 7 dons in Mumbai. All are Muslims. But at that time, when Dawood Ibrahim was killing people in Mumbai, massacring people on streets of Mumbai, these people were busy showing Hindus in, Hindu to aisa karta hai, but Musliman to rahim chahta ho. So this distortion, this happened because, like you said, this is Stockholm syndrome. A common Hindu or a secular Hindu feels a need to go an extra mile to show to a Muslim that I know you are good. Okay, I'll portray you as good, so you don't. So I think in back of the mind he'd be thinking, okay, let just kill me last. Okay, you don't have to kill me now. Just kill me last. So I think this is the ultimate thing that is governing, that is driving the show in India, and it is same. It is applicable for all the liberals across the globe. Ultimately, they see who is a liberal. Basically, someone who cannot pick up, who cannot fight physically, who cannot pick up a sword, who cannot swing a sword. Only that can be a liberal. Because if someone can defend, if someone calls you kafir, will be it is natural that you'll be angry. If you are not getting angry at this, it means you do not have those necessary hormones that are required to fight back. And when you lack those necessary hormones, then automatically you become, what to say. So it is a synonym. So liberal is a synonym of that word that I'm not using here. So lack of some hormones, I'm sure you are getting it. Yeah,
Everyone gets it. So,
yeah,
there are 422 references of the word kafir, and I think it has been a long-term demand that to modify their Quran with removing all those 420 references on the word kafir. And I also said that they are suffering from kafir phobia because they are taught
yes,
kafir phobia. They are taught to be scared of kafir, and
yes,
also when you are scared, then you do the most violent or criminal activity because if they are
yes.
pushed to the corner. Now, in the case of now comparing the two countries, India and France, and also to some extent US, because same mindset is also here coming now in a big way, where social media is deplatformizing people in a big way, and they have created their own censor bureaus, and which is very illegal in American law to silence the free speech. It's one of the ingredient, like for constitution guarantees free speech, and same in India. But the free speech is actually being misused in a big way because if the laws are equal for one person, they're equal to another person also. And I think people are waking up in a very slow way. It's like people, at least now, they stop dreaming or expecting, and they may do something. So what do you think is the you also correctly mentioned is the ideology which creates a criminal, and that's why they are doing that for whatever reason. Crime is a crime is a crime for whatever reason, even if it is based on an ideology and the religious duties or whatever it is. But religious duties cannot curtail the right of another person to defend or to put a counter argument. When all those things stop, then only thing remains is violence. When you suppress a person so much that they cannot speak for years, then the other person has to take up some way to get heard. They also start quacking. So where where is this weakness, like in the Hindu youth, in the education system that comes in, that stops them from speaking up?
Okay, so there is this is a long story, Aditi. Okay, so in short, what I can tell you is, uh, no, since independence, there was something called as father of nation that was taught to us. A country that is, whose history dates back to thousands and thousands of years. There was a father of nation who was born 100 years ago. So this was the biggest scam. Now, either Gandhi can be right or Maharana Pratap and Hari Singh Nalwa can be right. Both cannot be right at the same time. Okay, so so now what happened was, after partition, so after independence, the so-called independence, which we should call as the murder of motherland, okay, on 1947, what these policymakers decided for Hindus, because see, they secularized the education, and even there they did a scam. Okay, instead of teaching Maharana Pratap, Hari Singh Nilwa, Shivaji Maharaj, Guru Gobind Singh, now let me just tell you, I have some hundreds of families in this society where I'm sitting right now. And if I go to the door to door and I ask their 5 years old kid or 10 years old kid, do you know, there was someone called as Guru Gobind Singh, who had sacrificed four of his children at the tender age. They haven't heard their names. Forget about the story. Do they know about Hakikat Rai, who was beheaded by the Islamists for not converting to Islam? Do they know about Mahasher Rajpal, who published Rangila Rasool, and after the Muslims published derogatory books against Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Maharishi Dayananda? Okay, so when Hindu kids do not know that their ancestors were massacred, they were raped. Now they are never told in history. Okay, so the history is hidden from them, and again, more than policymakers, it is the mm, we Hindus as collectively have failed our children. Why? Okay, fine. In schools, they are not teaching. Fine. But who is stopping the parents, okay, from teaching their kids the real history? You just have to purchase a Babarnama of 400 rupees from Daryaganj. You have to just give it in the hands of your kid. Okay, read this, bache. Okay. Now, on every alternate page, you will see how Babar used to get drunk and how he would massacre Hindus, how he would raise the pillars of cut heads, and so on and so forth. So we Hindus rely too much on states and system and this and that. Okay, we do not have. So if schools have failed us, if society has, if states have failed us, why should not we, the parents, why should not we give the history books, the real history books, to our kids? When our kids get to know that there were the butchers who had attacked India for 1300 years, then automatically these kids will ask, okay, if these were the butchers, who fought for us? And then they will realize. Until they know the barbarism of Babars, Akbars, Khiljis, and all these bastards. Sorry for the language. Until till they know them, they cannot really evaluate or uh, understand the significance of or the mahanta of, not the greatness of our protectors, Shivaji Maharaj and Hari Singh Nalwa and Maharana Pratap. So this the parents should see and parents should do. If schools are not teaching, fine. Stop crime. Okay, you should yourself give the correct history books in your child's hands, and then you see how they how quickly they correct themselves. So it is yeah, as you rightly said, it is related to the education, but it is more than education. It is, yeah, it is us as Hindus. Yeah.
So sometimes they say we are very peaceful. हमने किसी पे आक्रमण नहीं किया. We have never attacked anyone. Is that a sign of weakness or foolishness?
Oh, it is sign of weakness. क्यों नहीं किया? हमारे तो हमारे our granthas are full of references. What was Ashwamedh? And in Vedas, we have been clearly commanded by Ishwar that a dharmic Raja must strive to expand the boundary. Okay. And it was not because I have also mentioned it in our earlier videos with Sattology, that it was not because of any demand for power or getting territory or something. A dharmic Raja was supposed to be the father of every child, every daughter living on this planet. So if there is a girl who is subjugated or who is being raped in some Syria or Iraq or Saudi Arabia by some jihadi, it is the responsibility of a dharmic king to save her. That is why there used to be a concept of Chakravarti Raja, a Raja who thought that he would uphold the flag of Dharma. He was supposed to be the greatest of the kings. He was supposed to be the emperor. He was the king of kings. And he was commanded by Ishwar that, look, you have to win every single inch of the territory available on this planet, and you have to uphold the flag of Dharma. Any daughter living anywhere on this planet, she should not fear any goon. So that was the principle, and that is why Bhagwan Krishna, he ordered Yudhishthira, he helped Yudhishthira to perform that Rajsuya Yajna. So that was the idea behind it. So for that, you have to win over. You have to attack the regimes that are tyrants in nature. So instead of waiting for some Saudi or some Arab people attacking us or some Turks attacking us, we should have invaded them back, even before they could invade us. So this was the thing that, when there were people like Krishna in our country, we used to rule the world. Now we are being ruled. So that is the problem. And by the way, there are two misconceptions that are being promoted by even the friends of Dharma these days. First is we did never attacked any land. This is false. This is absolute hoax. Okay. Second is हमारे सनातन धर्म में कोई कन्वर्जन का प्रोसेस नहीं है. We do not have any conversion in Sanatan Dharma. We don't bring people back. Okay, we do not convert people. What nonsense is this? Our faith is, if our faith is best, why should not we? Why should not we? Bring people to this faith. Let me quote Baba Sahib Ambedkar here, Adi. In the book's Annihilation of Caste, he wrote a very important thing. He wrote something like this. I'm not quoting verbatim, but I'm telling you the essence. He said that Hindus accuse Islam and Christianity as the invaders. He said, okay, fine. I know that they came here with their inferior ideology, but still they had such a conviction in their ideology that they wanted to force their ideology down the other's throat. But on the other hand, there were Hindus who had some really, really, they had some treasure of knowledge in the form of ancient texts and all. But they not just hid their knowledge or treasure from the world, but they were the people who hid it from their own people. So their own sections of society, they were not allowed to read some scripture. So he said, so in a way, it became like this. So there were invaders, there were tyrants, and there were meanness. So he said, okay, Islam can be tyrant, but Hindus were definitely mean because they didn't want to share the knowledge with all. So he said that whenever a tyrant fights a mean person, he said tyrant will win. And this is exactly what has happened. So we should be really clear about this. If our ideology is good, see, I don't know about other people, but I am a Sanatan Dharmi. I have read all the books of all the major religions and faiths possible on the earth, and I find my Sanatan Dharma to be the best, and that is why I am a Vedic Dharmi. I am not Hindu because I was born to a Hindu father or mother, and this should be the conviction. If we are if we are having the ultimate thing.
Just mute. You, okay. Yes.
Was a, yeah.
So, no,
So
you.
these are the so Aditi, these are the two misconceptions Hindus need to really get rid of. First is we are commanded by our dharma to win territories, to win people, not by not because of out of power, but because you have to establish the principles of humanity. And number two, we have to bring people to the superior ideology in which you are in. So that's it.
No, you mentioned some great points, and I think this is I share with you those ideologies because anyone who has read Bhagavad Gita, Yuddhe cha palayanam, very simple.
Yeah.
We never showed back on the
Bhavan
battlefield.
tejo gupir raksham yuddhe chapya palayana.
Yes,
That is my favorite shloka from Gita.
and it's such a another thing which I hear misconception is others came to attack India, but Indians cannot. How can we go there? So there is a false conception that Pakistan is a country. Actually, Pakistan is a Hindu country. It's a Hindu nation. It's just a 72-year-old name.
Is a Hindu country illegally occupied by jihadis who
Correct.
need to be kicked out of the land of the of our ancestral land.
M- Most of the pastimes of Ramayana and Mahabharata happened in the occupied territories of Pakistan and Afghanistan. And on the east side, the Bangladesh is the territory of Sagar Maharaj. And
Okay,
because
Aditi, okay. From your point, I just yeah, I want to make a quick point here. So sorry for the intervention. Okay, many people ask us that why is it that you always talk okay Musalman ko? Why do you want Muslims to accept their Hindu ancestry? Okay, why can't you just leave them as Muslim? I tell them this. Okay, with Christians, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, this, that, I do not have any problem. Why? Because none of them actually connect connects them with the invader. Okay, okay, fine. In history, Christianity बहुत सारा bloodshed किया होगा, even more than Islam, I can fine. But today, what they are doing? Are they glorifying any invader, or are they glorifying any killer, butcher today? No. But it is not the case with Islam in India. All the major mosques in India, including that Babri that was gone, are Krishna Janmabhoomi, or are that Kashi Vishwanath. Okay, and all more than 1 lakh temples, they are still under mosque occupation. And have you seen any Muslim dissociating himself from these occupations, saying ki I won't read namaz in this thing because it was originally a temple? It is a proven fact. You can see, okay, in Babri there was some structure beneath, but in Kashi Vishwanath and in Mathura temple, it is very evident. Okay, from naked eyes one can see that they are occupation. So if you talk to a Muslim in person, okay, they will tell you, okay, fine, you had Maharana Pratap and Ram and Krishna, and we have Gajini and Gauri. Now do whatever you want with this. Now, if invaders of India or killers of our mothers and fathers are your idols, then there can be no friendship at all. So that is our problem. So this is the litmus test of a Muslim's patriotism. They say, na, Hava why do you check our patriotism every time? It needs to be checked. Because if you are associating yourself with Gajani and Gauri and still you are holding tricolor in your hand, you are a traitor to this nation. Okay, holding Tiranga doesn't mean anything. If you are associating yourself with the attackers of this land, then you are certainly an outsider and an occupier, and you have to leave this place.
See, one of the
So that is
things, one of the definitions of kufr is that you have to humiliate
yes.
the kufr. So
No.
most of these, yes,
Okay. In this, so there is a concept of jizya. If you read Islamic scriptures, it is not just a so jizya is a penalty paid by a kafir, so non-Muslim, to the Islamic regime. Why is it paid? In order to protect your daughters and yourself in the Islamic regime being a kafir. Okay, so it is a ransom. It is kind of a ransom money that you have to pay to a Muslim Islamic regime. That okay, you should not kill us. We'll give you this amount. Okay, now it is not. It does not stop here. Jizya, if you read the fiqhs and the Islamic jurisprudence, you will find out there are ways to collect jizya. You cannot simply go to a Hindu and collect jizya. There are ways. So there are ways defined. So the most prominent way was that an Islamic collector has to go to the Hindu's place, and he was commanded to spit in the mouth of Hindu who is giving you the jizya. So while giving jizya, a Hindu was supposed to, you know, get spitted in the mouth by an Islamic collector. This was the jizya. So it was not just a financial loss. It was also a loss of self-respect, dignity, honor. Okay, they and it is written in Quran that that this kafir tax, the jizya tax, it is all about humiliation. The kafir should feel the humiliation and subjugation of being kafir. You have to collect jizya in this manner. So this is clear, no war we are talking about.
no, the Stockholm syndrome is very much active here, because it's very much active. The word jizya was used by the Islamic conquerors to Persia the first time, and the Persia was Al-Azam Islam. The Persians invented the jizya tax. That was the first time levied on Zoroastrians to forcefully convert them, and later on it came to India. So now coming back to the question, you also raised the point of Bollywood, and there are Bollywood actresses and actors who have so many Islamic words being used in the songs. So most of these songs, Americans think they are Middle Eastern songs. They don't even think they're Indian songs,
They are
because
right.
when you see the Indian songs, mostly with the Bharatnatyam and other areas, they are very far more soothing, and they have far many musical instruments like sitar and sarod. These are all heavily Indian instruments. Even harmonium is European. So mostly sitar and mridanga is Indian instrument. Now we see that there is a conquest of a different type going on through media, which is Bollywood and Indian television serials and the Indian depiction. I think the only good serial which India produced in the last few years was Chanakya, which was really the history of India in some ways. After that, most of the channels have glorified a culture which is external to India. Having women dance for the pleasure of men, that was never the case. So, how is this cultural, the cultural attack on Hindus being tolerated into large extent?
Yeah, it is being tolerated simply because we have been fed with this nonsense of that free speech is for the others, and for you it is you have to be tolerant of them. Now there is someone told me about a television series on some Google, yeah, this Amazon Prime or something called as Mirzapur. They have produced something like that. So I just checked it. So in that it was shown that a Hindu family. So there is a gangster, a Pandit Brahmin gangster in Mirzapur. Okay, the name is Mirzapur, but the gangster is a Brahmin. Okay, how often would you actually find a Hindu gangster in a Muslim name? Okay, now there is a lady. Okay, there is a lady, the gangster's wife. So that gangster is not able to satisfy her in bed. So she puts all the Mangal Sutra and Sindoor, etc., etc. So a doting Hindu wife is shown. Now in serial it is shown that when that gangster goes out of the home, she has sex with the servant boy. Then she also seduces her stepson, and her own father-in-law catches her making out, with the servant, and then that father-in-law then rapes her. Now this is a Hindu family's depiction in their movie and in their serial. In every other Hindu, in every other, this Bollywood movie, the depiction of our of our Hindu symbols, the characters, it is going like this. Okay, you are asking why? Simply because people tried with some movies on Prophet. What happened to them? Where is the director? Where is the actor? We don't know. Okay, there was a book Rangila Rasool. Where is the publisher? He was killed. A Kamlesh Tiwari dared to call something on Prophet. Where is he now? Gone. So when there is a history of assassination for merely speaking a word on some prophet or Allah, okay, then these film wallahs very well know their boundaries. They know their no-go zone. And Hindu, on the other hand, yeah, they are the punching bags. So you can just, so they are the open field for your creativity and art and all. So here, I do not hold any negative thing for these producer and directors. Fine, they are the important people. So yeah, they are designed to behave in such manner. But it is the fault of Hindus that they are not able to actually instill that fear. Okay, I say okay, fine. Muslims are peaceful, so Hindus should be as peaceful as Muslims. So that these producer Bollywood wala every dalla etc. They should know if you make up if so he should know that you will face the same consequences as you would have produced a movie on Prophet if you produce movie on Krishna in negative manner. So before that, you know, the nothing can help, nothing can change. So it is the nature of reaction that they are gauging constantly, and because Hindus reaction is not non-violent enough, so they are taking the advantage. The day Hindus become as peaceful as Muslims, all these things will be settled.
So, very nicely put. Now, coming back to Bhai, concept of Bhaijaan and Bhai,
Hmm.
which is a very shameful description because it is taken out of fear.
Yes.
And then colloquially, Bhai in Bombay Bollywood means a gunda, typically, and that's a connotation of that word. So, but still, there is a eulogizing in the form of that word for many of these people, including the director's name you took, Javed Akhtar, his son, and many of them with similar names. Like there's a movie called Lakshmi Bomb. Look at the
Yes.
movie which is released, which
Oh,
is Akshay
yeah.
Kumar, maybe a Hindu name, but his actions are way against the Hindu culture.
No, no, he has been a repeat offender. Sanjeev Bhai has put lot of tweets. So right from he did some movie 15 years ago, some Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, in which he had some really vulgar dance with all those are sacred names in his vulgar song and all the naked girls dancing here and there. So he has been doing this for 20, no for years now. So many people have misconceptions about this person, but we know the reality.
I think the Sushant Singh Rajput case in India exposed many of these people to some extent, but again, the law enforcement went astray. The entire drug.
Actually, on this Rajput case, the Sushant case, I'll tell you a short thing. Okay, so even Sushant, now he's gone, so our prarthnas are for him. But if you remember, there was a movie called Padmavat, okay, few years ago, and in that there was there was some news that Sanjay Leela Bansali was shooting some romantic scene between Maharani Mata Padmini and Alauddin Khilji. Okay, so on that, so when some Karni Sena, some Rajput Sena, they got to know about this, they went on the sets and they did some body massage of Sanjay Leela Bansali. On this, okay, that Sushant got so angry that he dropped his Rajput surname from his name, okay, on his Twitter handle. So that day I criticized. Okay. So what I'm saying is now, okay, fine. Again, Sushant is being projected as some kind of a Hindu hero or something. But let me tell you, Adiji, see, this Bollywood, this is such a cartel that you cannot be a proper Hindu if you are really working in this. Okay. If you have to ascend the CD of success, you have to compromise with your dharma, you have to compromise with your faith, your pride, and everything. And after that full body massage that Sanjay Leela Bansali removed those scenes. So that is
That's a very unique massage you're talking about. But
he likes that.
one of the last question with you on this session is that what should now Hindus do, especially youth? You're doing such a fabulous job in India, and you're doing so well. And Sanjeev ji, I have a lot of respect for him. Want to invite him again on this show through you. And what should the Hindu youth should do? Because the Hindu youth is the most confused lot, and despite being such young and creative, and what should Hindu youth should do? One of the things that I always proposed was that Hindu youth should start taking Muslim girls in their families in a big way, and that is required now because that's how you have to use the same tools that others are using, but for dharma here. We are giving them a better life. We are removing adharmic activities or propensities,
A kind of liberation that we should do.
and the
Yes.
children which will come out will be well protected, not like produced like animals, cats and dogs, and they will be protected and they'll grow up to a nice citizens. So what is your viewpoint, sir?
Now, my take on this is, Aditi, uh, if we go into the, the bottom of it, that why love jihad happens or why there is, we have also discussed earlier also that there is some kind of a vacuum in a Hindu's heart and mind. Vacuum of, so when, if you ask a Hindu, who are you? What makes someone Hindu? I think none of the youth and most of their parents, they won't be able to answer this question. Who is a Hindu? What are the red lines for being a Hindu? So I always keep insisting on one thing, that okay, the rituals are good, temples are good, worship is good, but beyond that, you have to see, you have to have an ideological framework, which can answer some of the basic questions that arise in humans' mind. Who am I? Who is Atma? Who is Ishwar? Does Ishwar exist? If it does, which form he is in, no, which gender he is, why did he create us? What is the purpose of our life, and so on and so forth. And see, all these jihadis or the Christian missionaries or whatever they do, the vis-a-vis conversion, they raise these, plant these questions in an innocent mind. And being in a Hindu family, being raised in a Hindu family, I'm sure 99 out of 100 households, they do not have time. Their Hindu parents do not have time to discuss all these things. They can discuss Bollywood, they can discuss IPL, they can discuss Amitabh Bachchan, they can discuss Sushant Singh Rajput, but they never want to discuss about these things. So my thing is, if in a nutshell, if I can tell you, Hindu youth should try to know about dharma, the philosophical part of it, not the ritual. Okay, ritual is good, but the philosophical part. Can you argue someone on Ishwar, on God, on purpose of life, on Atma, on Punarjanma, on rebirth, on karma? Can you do it? If so, and then that makes that builds the foundation for the Vedic missionary, the Vedic mission. And who is a Vedic missionary? एक चलता फिरता Vedic missionary is someone who can, plant some doubts in a Muslim's mind. Okay, why is your religion why is your faith inferior in front of us? I'm not saying it out of some superiority complex. I know that some faith, if that calls me kafir, it is inferior by nature. So a Hindu youth should try to understand the dharma, and I would recommend, here, books by Arya Samaj, ISKCON, and books by Sanjeev Bhai, Agniveer's book. So we have tried to, summarize the red lines and the model for a good Hindu youth. So they should have it, they should know it, and then whatever you have understood about dharma, you have to take it to the other person. Okay, for any Muslim or Christian, have you seen the enthusiasm on a face of a Muslim when he sees a confused Hindu? He starts, वो डोरे डालते हैं ना, जैसे ऐसे ऐसे वो जाल डालता है, जैसे मछली के ऊपर जाल डालते हैं ना, उसको लगता है कोई शिकार आ गया. So can you feel that same thing कि शिकार आ गया whenever you see a non-Hindu? Okay, I'm not saying that shikar in negative sense, but can you uh, transfer your thing to him about your dharma so that he or she can get attracted to the dharma? This so here lies the solution to all the problems, the demographic problem that is now becoming huge thing. If every Hindu can convince two people about the goodness of their faith, so for that you have to first know the philosophy and then you have to convince the other. Just two people. If we have 10 crore people, 10 crore Hindu youth ready to do that, we will have 20 crore people in our Vedic fold, in next 2 3 years. So this is the model that will only work. Otherwise, there can be no other way. There is no other way. Nanya Pantha. There is no other way.
Very well put it, because you are strong. You said in the last interview with us, you are strong because you know dharma, and you actually living a life of a sadhaka. So, which is a sadhaka means a person who actually is following it, and most of my viewers are also doing it. So, when you have that kind of conviction, then nobody can move you, and then you can see these problems which you are describing in a reality, because this is a reality, new reality. And without education, that is not fulfilled. And I really commend Agniveer and the entire team for spreading this good knowledge. And Sanjay Nevarji has done a phenomenal work in that. I have been his, I would call it, a fan for a long time, and then it's a fabulous job. In Sattology also, we are doing the same thing, debunking mythology. The ultimate purpose is to build the faith. Now we have published 5 books, and now the sixth one is coming on Yudhishthir. The Yudhishthir book is all about that, because there has been no king greater than Yudhishthir ever in the history, according to Narad Muni and Devta, not by me and Vyasdev. And Indra also describes the same thing. But I think there's a correct, we have to understand our own culture much more deeply before we become easily convinced by everyone else. And the last thing I would like to say, the Sanatan Dharma includes everything which others teach, but million times more in quantity. So that quality and quantity is both here. We are the most well documented culture of the world. our Itihas, our Puran, our Ved are very well documented. Any last words for the audience, please?
Uh, it is wonderful to be with you always. It is a pleasure, talking to you, Aditi. And for your youth, for your viewers, I have just one thing to say. Yeah, please be, nice to your parents. Follow dharma. Know about your dharma. Just devote some 15 minutes of your day's time daily to understand dharma. You know, just have question answer within yourself. Raise your questions, find some solution, ask some expert, ask Aditya ji, ask anybody. Go through some छोटी छोटी किताबें पुस्तकें पढ़िए and set some goals, set some timeline. Okay, by this time, by this month, I have to be a small Vedic missionary in myself. I want to preach dharma. I want to discuss dharma with others. Am I able to convince a non-Hindu about the greatness of my culture? At least this much I should learn within 2 or 3 months. So this we should do, we can do, and we will do. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you very much. And we have a 12-day Sattology, 12-session Sattology course also on similar topics. And the content is very similar, whether you read Sanjeev's book or our book, it's all same because there is no contradiction in Vedic literatures, at least. Confusion is in our minds when we hear from Quora and Wikipedia. So, so, and also you do not learn dharma from Twitter or through participating in discussions because that's a worse way of learning your own dharma. So with that, we'll end here. And I know some of you are very amused with this. If you like this video, go to the YouTube channel and comment over there. And I'm sure this video will be the super hit like the last one that Vashi Sharma ji did with us. Thank you all very much and namaskar and have a wonderful. I'll give you back rest of the day. Namaskar.